you meet vegetarians and they just don't like the fact that animals been killed, and you can be like, you know what, fair enough. I can relate to that, but when you like the taste of it, it's hard to look past that.
Could you name a type of enjoyment that you get that would cause an animal to be abused, that would be justified? So if I inflicted pain on an animal, do you think there's any way that I could justify it?
Is it done through sports, through food?
Anyway.
I think if you're going to abuse an animal, then that is wrong. But it depends on, because if you eat meat and fish and stuff, I guess you could say that's abusing the animal because you're eating it. But that's a lifestyle choice, I feel, like to eat that sort of food. And I respect people that, don't, because it's good for the environment, I suppose. But also, if you look at history, it's just kind of implemented, isn't it, into society, people eating meat and fish, and it's always going to be a bit of a clash.
So do you think then, if something's like a cultural norm or your way of life, your lifestyle, do you think that justifies abusing an animal then?
Well, when you put it like that, it doesn't sound good, because it sounds like you're abusing an animal, but when the animal has been put into a supermarket, perhaps, and it's a societal norm, I suppose, which in a way justifies it, but I get what you're saying. It doesn't justify it in a way.
If you go outside of that culture or outside of that lifestyle, say you look at another culture which, let's say, for example, other cultures which kill and eat dogs and cats, or
that's really wrong.
Or what about genital mutilation?
I think that's really wrong. Yeah, because that's for me. It's a pet, isn't it? It's something that you would be looking after and caring, whereas the fish in the supermarket, you haven't actually got a connection with.
Right.
I would say is you see it in its flesh, and you're used to that. It's perhaps maybe you've been brought up eating that, so it's in your routine.
Yeah. Do you think if you formed a connection or a bond with, say, a fish or a chicken or a pig or a cow, do you think you'd be less likely to pay for them to be killed?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, my take on it is if somebody has a justification to eat animal, they've got a reason to use it, their own preference. But if I see animal abuse in when somebody uses animals for sport, like greyhound racing, I feel that's quite cruel. And horse racing, with the Grand National, they jump and the horses, 3 or 4 get put down for no reason. That's not.
But that's part of the culture you're within.
Yeah.
So even you might say that's wrong.
Yeah.
Do you think then, so you could justify it for taste pleasure, but maybe you couldn't justify it for entertainment or visual pleasure?
Yeah. I love the taste of meat and fish. So for me, it's I can't look past that in a way.
What do you think it is about the taste which is different from, say, the visual pleasure we get from watching animals like horse racing or greyhound racing, things like that? Why is it the taste which justifies it?
Because you're told it's kind of good for your growth and all things like that. That's what you're told.
Yeah, and it is glorified, isn't it? You go into restaurants and they make these nice meals for you, and it looks nice, it is nice, your overall experience is pleasant, therefore you associate that with the food you eat, So it's completely understandable when someone isn't eating that. You meet vegetarians and they just don't like the fact that animals been killed, and you can be like, you know what, fair enough. I can relate to that, but when you like the taste of it, it's hard to look past that.
What if I said, instead of enjoying the taste of animals, I liked the sound of them when they were screaming, when they were being slaughtered?
That sounds a bit mad.
We don't see that part, do we?
Yeah. No, you don't. But what if that was my thing? I went to slaughterhouses and I stand outside them and I listen to them screaming, and I got off on that.
Well, then you'd be a weird guy.
I'd be weird.
Yeah.
But it's okay for you guys to enjoy the suffering when you're enjoying the taste of them.
You can't really hear so if I was to buy salmon and then put it on the pan and then it started going no, like then I would be like, whoa, I would stop. But because you don't have to experience that, and you just get a really nice smell instead, and you kind of don't feel bad. You're quite excited.
There is that.
I don't know. The way I see it is like you can't really have a conversation with a cow. You can't really like, or a fish.
Right.
You know, I can't like connect with them in like a moral way.
But do you think though, like you have to have a conversation with them to bond with them? Like I can bond with a dog or a cat without talking to it. You know, it's body language and
that's because they can like they can there's an intimacy with the dog or a cat. You know, they can cuddle it. You can be like, whereas with a fish or like I guess with a cow it's a bit different because cows are quite like
I've cuddled cows.
Yeah, exactly. I could maybe understand that.
You know, cows can purr.
Really?
Yeah, there's videos of cows purring when you pat them and you stroke them. They actually purr like cats or dogs.
Yeah.
Cats.
What's your take on it? Are you vegan?
Yes, I'm vegan. So I'm asking people to consider the animal's perspective.
Okay.
Because often there's a term called cognitive dissonance, where we believe one thing but we act another. Like we say as a country or as a world that we love animals, yet we pay for them to be exploited, raped and slaughtered. And I'm asking people to kind of make the connection, and if they believe that animals deserve respect and autonomy and rights, then don't pay for their rights to be taken away and for them to suffer. Because, like you say, we bond often with dogs and cats, but we don't have the opportunity with cows and pigs and chickens and fish. But I don't think that means they deserve any less respect or that we should treat them any worse.
I get that.
And because it's been proven we don't need to consume animal products. So if that's the case, then there is the only justification is pleasure.
Right.
But it sounds like you guys, it sounds a bit sadistic, doesn't it?
The pleasure comes with eating, to be honest, and that's the main part of it, really.
Have you ever tried plant-based alternatives? Because now there's so many good plant-based foods which replicate the meat but don't cause an animal to suffer.
I don't know. They don't seem the same. Like I don't like the fact there's so many ingredients in there. You know, like.
Have you checked the ingredients list on a lot of like meat products though?
It's to get plant-based like meat alternatives.
Yeah. So to be honest, like I'm asking people if they really, really need that meat taste. There's so many good plant-based alternatives for that meat now, but. The better thing I'd encourage for our health, the environment, and also just generally to reduce our impact is to choose whole foods, because first of all, it's a lot better for our health, and it's way better for the planet because it doesn't have as many products, it's not as processed, and generally, you know, it's not traveling so far. So I'd encourage people to eat whole foods, plant-based stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's even with like tofu and stuff, like all those like farms and stuff, isn't there like quite controversial ways that they're even done, like don't they like spray parasites and stuff and like to kill
like tofu I believe is made out of soy. I hope I got that right, otherwise I'm going to get roasted.
Soybean, I think.
Yeah, and so a lot of our stuff at the moment is grown on monocultures, which are sprayed with pesticides, insecticides, fungicides, things like that. And I'm not for that. I think we should change our farming practices. But by eating animals, they're fed a lot of soy and grain, which is from those farms which are causing deforestation and causing this kind of ecological damage. So by eating plants, even if it is that soya, like soy-based products, we're actually reducing the amount of soy and like plants that we're eating.
Yeah.
So to produce 1 kilogram of beef, it takes 17 kilograms of grain.
Right.
So by eating the grain instead, we're actually reducing the impact we're having drastically.
Yeah.
And we're not directly causing that animal to be slaughtered and suffer.
Yeah, I think if you look at like cultures and stuff, it's just kind of like implemented into cultures eating meats and fish, and for that reason, I just feel like it won't ever really change. I mean, it will change, but won't go away. I don't think.
Maybe not entirely, but you know, that doesn't mean that progression shouldn't happen.
No,
and individually, I think if we recognise something to be immoral, then we're kind of obligated to change the way we're acting. And so I'm just asking people, because every meal we eat, we have a choice to cause suffering to an animal or not to.
Okay.
And also for our health and for the environment to cause less damage. So I'm just asking people to consider that option.
Yeah. I think it's actually quite expensive though, like the alternatives.
Well, the whole food stuff. That's why I'm promoting whole foods, because actually it's been shown to be cheaper.
Okay.
Because if you're buying more raw ingredients and preparing your meals and cooking, it actually has been shown to be cheaper. Okay. If you're eating lots and lots of plant-based processed stuff, it can be more expensive. I mean, you do have that option if you want. I occasionally treat myself with meat replacements, but I'm asking people.
Have you ever not been a vegetarian or vegan?
Yeah. So I was 18 when I went vegetarian.
Okay.
And then it took me 2 years to go vegan. But yes, I watched like slaughterhouse footage and documentaries.
Yeah,
I just realized
I've heard about it. People like watch documentaries and stuff, and it's like, you watch it, it kind of puts you off it.
Yeah, I mean, do you see like a human life on the same scale as an animal life, or do you still prioritise human life?
That's an interesting question. I think as a human, I'm biased towards humans. It's really hard to look outside of that. Like as you're in a culture, you're kind of biased towards supporting what is in your culture.
Okay.
I think maybe I do consider humans to be, I don't know how to word it. If I was put in a situation where if I had to save like a pig or a human from a building, I could only save one, maybe I'd save the human.
Yeah.
I think that is probably because the biases I have. Yeah. But again, we're not in that situation.
Yeah.
So I don't think that is out of choosing an animal life or a plant life.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, in terms of value, like not even if you're in like a burning building and you have to save like your mum or like 70 cows, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if they have the same, like, you see it like
I think a soul's a soul. I think all lives deserve respect, and I don't think we should be needlessly taking life away from anyone.
Okay.
I go further than a lot of vegans and say that I think plants have souls and deserve potentially have a conscious experience. We can't know that. Like, we can't communicate with animals.
Okay, well, there we go.
If that is the case, then we should still be eating plants, because we're killing less plants by eating them instead of eating animals.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be a tricky one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm not like pressuring you to like go vegan now or anything. I'm just asking people to consider that perspective a little bit more.
Yeah, I understand. Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate it all. I know you didn't want to initially, but I enjoyed the conversation.
That's cool.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, man.
Have a good one. See you later. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified when videos go up every Thursday. If you want to watch another conversation, here are a couple of options. And if you want to support my activism, there's a link in my profile to a page where you can buy me a coffee and donate money to an animal sanctuary. Thanks. Amber.